with the Marketing Soapbox. So we are live, raw, and real. And we had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but hopefully we can convert that and edit it out. So, as always, we're being live, raw, and real on the Soapbox. And my guest today is Andy Kovacs. Andy and I are BNI members together. And
Good.
hi, welcome
Hi.
to the Soapbox. So, Andy, I would love it if you would just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who your ideal client is and why it's really important for business owners to understand how you can help.
Excellent. Thank you, Liz. Now, forgive me because the connection isn't quite clear, so I hope you can hear me. Andy Kovacs, I call myself a chief difference maker to my clients. I've been in practice for 15 years here in Markham with clients across the GTA, and I help busy and successful business owners through the process of ensuring that the people and the organizations they care about are taken care of and resulting in more cash in their pocket, preserving the wealth that they've worked so hard to accumulate, and ultimately leaving a legacy to their family and other organizations that are important to them.
Awesome. So, we're on the Marketing Soapbox, and we always like to talk about marketing ideas. You've
Mm-hmm.
been in business for 15 years, so I'm sure you've tried a lot of different kinds of marketing strategies. But
Yes.
what's interesting to me is that you now only work from referrals.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about why you chose that marketing strategy and how that works for you.
Actually, I kind of stumbled onto the opportunity in my second year of business. I was invited to a networking boat cruise down in the Toronto Harbor, and I showed up, and one of the first people that I met was a member of a BNI group, and he asked me what I did, and he said, "Oh, well, our insurance guy just left. Do you want to come and check us out?" And I'd never heard of BNI before, but I went there a couple of days later, saw the power of the group networking together and said, I've got to be a part of this. And fortunately, I was accepted, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so full disclosure, Andy and I are actually in the same BNI group. He's
Mm-hmm.
actually my BNI mentor, and he's awesome at it. And so that's one of the strategies that I'm starting to employ as well. But
Mm-hmm.
what is it about that referral sort of relationship management piece that
Mm-hmm.
is really impactful for your business?
Well, when I've done a good job for someone and they recommend me wholeheartedly to someone in the similar situation, then that connection is warm. We know they know what to expect. It's not a cold call. It's not something out of the blue. So it's really just continuing the good work that we've done. It's just with another person.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So insurance, sometimes people think, and this is maybe a little stereotypical, but
Mm-hmm.
could be dry, could be boring, don't really necessarily need it, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. So tell us what some of the pet peeves about your industry or people's perceptions of your
Yes.
industry when you're out selling and marketing.
Exactly. So I think my biggest observation is most people generally know what insurance is, but few actually know what it can do. And specifically for business owners, in light of the recent changes that the federal government made to things like income splitting and having passive incomes in your corporation, whether it's life insurance or critical illness insurance, those can be very, very effective tools of growing money tax free, making sure that in your pocket and less in CRAs. So I think the biggest perception, especially for business owners, is that they kind of know what it is, but few actually know how it can be sort of rolled into what they're trying to accomplish with their business and with their financial planning in general.
Yeah. So what are some of the issues that you run across in conjunction with being an insurance representative? I mean, do you ever get people who just don't even want to engage in conversations with you?
Um, well, fortunately, since most of it is by referral, they do. But I think business owners sometimes they have their heads in the sand, much like an ostrich. They're so busy running their businesses that my job is really to try to catch them when their heads are peeking out above the sand for that short window of time. And perhaps it's because someone in their family or circle of friends has had something happen to them, and maybe they're a little more aware, and at that point to try to address some of those concerns. And after working with clients who have sort of taken their heads up out of the sand for even a few seconds, and we've gone through the process and have gotten them covered, they're really glad that they did, and they're actually surprised that they didn't do it a lot sooner.
Yeah, and I know for myself, and I certainly tell my clients, and even when I do my public speaking engagements, concentrate on what I refer to as your zone of excellence. So, what is
Yes.
it that you're great at that only you can do? And outsource the rest. And in a way,
Yes.
your insurance policy, your insurance coverage as a business owner definitely needs to be outsourced, because
Yes.
as a lot of us have maybe 2, 3 employees, maybe a few more, um, illness or injury is always a key concern for us. So
Yes.
think about, we need liability insurance for others, but not necessarily the kinds of coverage that we need as a business owner.
And think business owners, think of yourselves as the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Right.
If the goose is injured, if the goose can't come into work for 3 months or six months, eggs aren't going to be laid. The landlord is not going to be generous to waive your rent or your lease, and bills still have to be paid. So there are very effective tools in place to make sure that the lights can stay on, the staff can get paid, and your business obligations can be taken care of. That's one side, but also for your family as well, to make sure that there's a paycheck that comes home uh, if you can't work.
Yeah, and I think as business owners, sometimes maybe we look at it as like, oh, it's just one more expense, particularly
Mm-hmm.
for my, because one of the groups of people that I work with are new entrepreneurs, so they're
Yes.
sort of under 2 years into business,
Yep.
and you're constantly outlaying money for your business.
Yes.
You're really, at that point, honestly, you don't know if it's going to be super successful or not, and so
Exactly.
really trying to control expenses.
Yes.
So what kinds of offerings, I mean, are there offerings that are going to be relatively affordable for my guys that are sort of 1 to 2 years into their business?
Yes, and I could speak. I mean, I started out 15 years ago, and the risk was minimal at that point. But I put in place various kinds of insurances, life, critical illness, disability, on a temporary or term basis, which does control the cost. It keeps the cost down. As my business has evolved and there's more cash flow and also more risk along the way, I was able to increase those policies, some without going through any other medicals or anything like that, to get to the point where I am. But like anything, it's getting your foot in the door, and there are plans that are relatively inexpensive that can accomplish that. And that, as a business grows, and perhaps the reason for coverage is no longer a risk, but it's protecting assets and investments that you've built up, so you don't have to tap into that if you're sick and injured. Then there are policies for that too. So it's a continuum, but it all depends on getting your foot in the door.
Okay, that's awesome advice, and I'm gonna do a shout out to my newer entrepreneurs that, if you want to understand a little bit more about insurance, reach out to me, and then I'll directly connect you with Andy, because I think it would be super valuable. So before we sign off, let us
Yes.
know who's an ideal client for you that could be watching me. Obviously, we're in the same networking group, and
Yes.
I try to think about my newer entrepreneurs, but in a perfect world, who's your ideal client?
I will tell you. So those
Good.
entrepreneurs, that already have some wind beneath their wings. So they're about 3 years past the startup phase. They've got some cash flow, and they're getting their head out of the sand and starting to consider some of these options. Again, things can be put in place relatively inexpensively. As things move further along and the business grows, perhaps there's the need for staff, or they've hired staff. And then the big question is, how do we keep the amazing staff that we have, but also how do we attract some new bodies to our team? And at that point, things like group benefits come into play, and I can help employees with that. And then a little further along down the trough, if these individuals are taking out larger business loans, or they have partnership agreements that says, you know what, if I don't wake up tomorrow, my wife gets half of the business. Well, I don't think too many people out there want the other partner's spouse as their new business partner. And that's where, again, some of these insurances can be put in place to make sure that there's a funding component to those legal agreements, to make sure that the business goes on and things happen the way people want them to.
Awesome. Okay, you heard it, everybody here. Live on the Marketing Soapbox with Liz Scott, my guest and my fellow BNIer, Andy Kovac. So if anybody out there, even when we do the replays and we post it, if you're interested in hearing more about what kinds of insurance you need for your business partnership, et cetera, PM me, and I am happy to connect you with Andy.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Liz.
Thanks, Andy. Bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.